It will be closer to 10K. Delia laid the tarp down on the ground and picked up her rake again. But then Cole Bosworth will have gotten his way, and we can't have that, Lilly said, starting to rake. Cole had a large house that abutted the path they were raking. He and his neighbors, Fritz Stewart, Cheryl Singleton, and Scott Forrest, had begun to consider the path theirs, even though it was owned and maintained by the town. Few people had realized it wasn't a private way, and no one would have considered using it until Cole applied for a permit to extend his driveway onto the path so that he could build a bigger garage. Surveyors were sent out, property lines were established, and the use of the path came into question. When the Board of Selectmen denied him his permit, Cole threatened to sue, since no one had used the public egress for years. That's when the Beautification Committee, the group who was overseeing the fall festival plans, decided to incorporate the path into the 10K so that it would get used. Actually, it was Lilly and Tamara O'Connor, Lily's best friend, who made the suggestion. Yeah, Cole winning is not an ideal outcome, Delia said. I'm so sick of raking the leaves on this path. Where do they all come from? It wouldn't surprise me if Cole weren't dumping them, Lilly said. Notice how clean his yard is. That's why we're taking these leaves to the dump instead of putting them in the woods where he can get at them again. You don't like him, do you? Delia said. I'm not particularly fond of him, no, Lilly said. He's pretentious and a pain in the neck. Not characteristics I admire. Would you like him better if he was from Goosebush? Delia said. She continued to rake leaves, so she didn't notice that Lilly had stopped and was staring at her. What do you mean? Lilly said. He's only lived in Goosebush for a few years, Delia said. 10, Lilly said. I remember when the Clark house went on the market. 10 years. But he does sort of act like he owns the place, Lilly said. Or he owns the history of it, Delia said. Lilly started raking again. He does take his familial history very seriously. Not that it isn't impressive, mind you, being related to one of the people who came over on the Mayflower. I guess, Delia said. But there are plenty of folks who have actually lived in Goosebush for a lot longer. His great however many greats grandmother moved away from town in the 1800s. Your family has been here longer than that. How long we've been here really doesn't matter, Lilly said. Stop smirking. It really doesn't. What does matter is when you act like you own the place, but you don't do anything to make it better. That's why Cole bothers me. He contributes nothing but his opinion to the town. That doesn't sit well with me. Back to your question. Would I like him better if he came from here? No. But I do have to wonder. If he'd lived here in Goosebush a bit longer, maybe he would understand about what matters and what doesn't. What doesn't matter, or shouldn't, when your relatives got here. What does matter? Trying to take over a public path. And so we rake, Delia said. Just for a few more minutes, Lilly said. I promised I'd bring Ernie his truck back by 3. Are you sure I can't help you with the leaves? Delia asked Ernie. I don't mind making a run with you to the dump. Ernie Johnson took the keys to his truck from Delia and put them in the front pockets of his bits, bolts, and bulbs apron. He took 2 bottles of water out of another pocket of his apron and handed one to each of the women. The mulching and compost centers in the dump are open today, and I've roped some of the volunteers from the Beautification Committee to meet me there, Ernie said. Ernie's kind face broke into its normal state, and a smile that enveloped his entire being broke out. Delia couldn't help smiling back. They've been doing cleanups all over town, and we've been sorting the recyclables here. I already did a couple of runs earlier this morning, and they'll meet me there. There's plenty for them to do after school. After school? Lilly asked. Yeah, it won't surprise you to know that the volunteers for the crunching and mulching